Welcome back to another NXT recap video. This NXT was not as good as the recent NXTs, but let's get straight into it. It started off with, the show opened with the highlights of Tony D'Angelo retaining the NXT Championship against Noraku last week. Grayson Waller made a surprise return. He talked about Austin Theory, about he was a better half of the team, what I agree. And then about New Day, about he was mourning the loss of the tag team titles, but also mourning the loss of his career because just going downhill, just being used for nothing. Waller talked about the original NXT run and he said he still had unfinished business on the brand. He said one of the biggest remaining goals was to become NXT champion. Waller claimed Cruz did not intimidate him and criticized the NXT men's division for being too comfortable and lacking future stars. And then production worker even took away Waller's mic away after he continued speaking beyond his time. And then after he just started like screaming into the camera, what I'm actually liking this. And then it was a backstage with Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. Miles Bourne and Tavion discussed Waller's comments. Then Mason Rock interrupted and said he was going to focus on getting revenge on Cam Hendricks. Bourne was worried that Rock could interfere, but Heights promised he wouldn't. And then Lizzie Rain and Izzy Dame had a match, the first match. What was a really good match. It flowed up until the end. The Thunder Strike move, where she steps up and like kicks the opponent in the back of the head. Her first one was good, but this one's kind of like messy. But Izzy had unique events in her corner, giving her advantages throughout the match. The match was good, nothing special, just we don't have to see it again. But Nick Vance attempted to get involved, but Sean Spears appeared with the steel chair behind him to stop him. He kind of faked hit and drawed Vance and Izzy's Dane to him, and then Lizzie Rain hit the Thunder Strike and won the match. What was a good choice. I hope this leads to Lizzie Rain winning the North American Championship or even the Speed Championship would be great. Then Cruz Montar meets the NXT roster. Cruz was welcomed backstage from Romeo and Noam Dar. Saquon Sugars thanked Romeo and Dar for helping them deal with Dark State. Saquon told Cruz that they had unfinished business and he first needed to handle Dark State before he got to him. Kalani Jordan warned Cruz about signing. She claimed wrestlers like them were not always given opportunities they deserved. And then Robert Stone's office, Swipe Right, what is birthright, complained to Robert Stone about defending the NXT Tag Team Division Championships. Oh no, not Swipe Right, the Vanity Project. about then defending against the new quarter catch crew next week. So the Vanity is defending against Miles Bourne and Tavion Hines. I hope the Vanity Project wins. I kind of want maybe OTM to beat Vanity Project, something like that. And then after that, Lullavice sent a warning message to Kendra Gray about the underground match and how she's gonna lose. I'm actually really excited for this match. I hope Kendra Gray wins. She's a great championship. She's like a future Kurt Angle, how she wrestles and everything. And then Jade Park and Thea Hale formed a team to fight Carmen Petrovich and Nikia Lyons next week. What was okay, good. And then next match was Miles Bourne and Cam Hendricks. Cam Hendricks used his size and power to control several parts of the match. Nearly won the championship after connecting a huge big boot to Miles Bourne. Mason Rook appeared ringside and attempted to attack Hendricks, but Tavion stopped Rook from interfering. Miles took the advantage and connected a Bourne again, and then retained the championship. And then after Mason Rook got in the ring, attacked Cam Hendricks after the match, and then Birthright attacked Mason Rook and Cam Hendricks. Was okay. And then more backstage segments where Lizzie Rain was celebrating her win jokingly with the KFC ad, like popcorn chicken. And then Tristan Angels came approach and then said Shiloh Hill is not a good influence, he can't be trusted. Angel and Berta arrived to support their lost Perro Del Mar teammate Bronco Nima. Ren Sinclair challenged Zaria in Robert Stone's office. And then should Sinclair retain the future opportunity at Zaria's NXT North American Championship? I hope Zaria wins and then wins Ren Sinclair's Speed Champion. So she's like a double, like Sol Rica was, because they're going down that same track. And then match 3 was OTM and Birthright. OTM's Bronco Nima and Lucius Price started strong, using their size and power. Angel and Berto appeared at ringside to support Nima, but however Nima became distracted while trying to convince them to leave. Birthright isolated Lucius Price and hit a 2-on-1 finishing move. Channing Stats and Uriah Connors scored a pinfall over them. Nima tried to apologize to Lucius Price about that, saying he was trying to make them leave. And then after that, Kendra Gray prepares an NXT Underground message to Lola. A training video showed Kendall preparing for the Underground with her father, Julius Creed. Kylie Armstrong later claimed that she deserved the NXT Championship opportunity but then Izzy Dame told she needed to wait her turn. And then the fourth match was Charlotte Hill and Tristan Angels. In a match, this was a pretty good match. Hope this is the last. I don't need to see any more of this. Tristan Angels attempted a running knee near the steel steps. Charlotte Hills moved out the way, causing Angels to crash his knee into the steps. And then Hill then drove Angels onto the announce table. And then it was all fun. And then back into the ring, Hill delivered a super neck breaker from the top rope to earn the victory. So Charlotte Hills won. And then the main event segment was Cruz, the TNA person that came over to NXT, entered through the crowd for his first major promo as official NXT star. Cruz spoke about growing up on the tough streets of New York and everything he overcame to reach WWE. He thanked TNA for helping build his career, but said his new goal was to becoming the NXT Championship. Cruz also responded to Grayson Waller's comment from earlier in the show. NXT champion Tony D'Angelo interrupted, reminded Cruz that many wrestlers had promised to take over NXT, but D'Angelo remained champion. Cruz said respected Tony D'Angelo, but would defeat him should they meet for the title. And then Grayson Waller suddenly attacked Cruz from behind. D'Angelo fought Waller before Cruz recovered, attempted to hit Waller with the block. Waller moved, causing Cruz to accidentally strike D'Angelo. Grayson escaped and watched from the entrance ramp. The show ended and Cruz and D'Angelo staring each other down inside the ring. This was a pretty good episode. NXT, I would probably say better than Raw and SmackDown, but not best of all. So probably like a 6.5 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. Yeah, but my final thoughts. This episode focused heavily on establishing new challenges in NXT. Grayson Waller immediately placed himself in NXT Championship picture, while Cruz made it clearly that he was coming for Tony. Miles Bourne successfully retained the North American Championship, but the problems involving Cam, Mason Rook, and Birthright in the Vanity Project are far from finished. The biggest matches announced for next week include Kendall Gray defending the NXT Women's Champion against Lola Vice in an NXT Underground match, what I think would be a great match. Hopefully Kendall Gray wins, and then Lola Vice gets called up to SmackDown with Damian Priest, or maybe goes over to AAA like full time, or gets moved up, I hope. And then along with no quarter catch crew challenging swipe right for the NXT Championship. So next week, Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights challenge the Vanity Project. So I think Vanity Project will win. I'm really liking what they're doing with the title and everything. But let me know what you thought of the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And turn on the notifications for more WWE recap videos. But other than that, I'm out. Peace.